Hello students, once again I welcome you all in this new video where we are going to discuss about the animal tissues, and we will see a general idea about the various types of animal tissues that are present in animals' body normally and majorly. But since we know that in the previous video we were moving ahead in this chapter, that is second chapter, tissues, and we have already finished the first portion of this chapter that was related with the plant tissues, and there we have seen about the meristematic and permanent tissues present in the plants, and we have also seen there the category of meristematic tissues like apical, lateral and intercalary meristematic tissues on the basis of the position of these tissues in the plant body. And we also know this, that meristematic tissues are responsible for the growth of the plant body parts, whether in the elongation for the root or shoot part, or whether in the growth of the girth of the plant. And we have also discussed there the permanent tissues, simple and complex, that parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma cells, means they are responsible for the filling, storage or the packaging of the plant body, and they are also providing the mechanical support, flexibility to the plant body part. And the complex tissues, xylem and phloem, these are also known as vascular tissues because they are responsible for the conduction of xylem, especially for water, and phloem for the conduction of food. So that was all about the plant tissues. And we have also discussed there that plants and animals are having what? Various differences amongst themselves, and that's why the tissues in plants and tissues in animals are different from each other. So previously we have already discussed all these things. Today we are going to discuss about the animal tissues. So in animal tissues, when we are going to talk about what are the various types of the animal tissues, you will see here the new things: nervous tissue, muscular tissue and connective tissue. As you know, the plants are not having any nervous system there, they are not having brain. But when we talk about the animals, for their control and coordination, because animals are going to move from one place to another place, so their all body organs, body parts must be in a coordinated way so that they can perform the function. And that's why animals are having what? Nervous system to control the all these activity in the body. And that's why in the animals we will discuss about the nervous tissue. And this nervous tissue is made up of specific cell that is known as what? Nerve cell or neurons. Perhaps many of you are having a previous knowledge about the neurons. What are their structures? Means these are the elongated cells, neurons, when we talk about. So this is what? Nervous tissue, a specific feature of animal tissues, and these will be absent where in plants, because plants don't have any nervous system or brain there. Then when we talk about the muscular tissue, perhaps you are having a knowledge about the difference between animals and plants, that animals are capable to perform locomotion, and this locomotion means they are going to move from one place to another place, and they can also move their body parts. So muscles and bones are going to provide ability to these animals to move their body parts, and that's why we are having what? Muscular tissue, means the animals, they are having muscular tissue. And the muscular tissue will be of three types: striated, unstriated and cardiac muscular tissue. So when we talk about the striated muscular tissue, means these are the muscle tissue which are going to work on our will, and that's why they are known as what? Voluntary muscles in our body, because they are going to work on our will. And when we see the examples of these tissues in our body, so the tissues in our hands, legs, even neck, so whatever parts with the help of muscles we can move on our will, that are made up of what? Striated muscular tissue. When we talk about the unstriated muscle tissue, means these are the tissues which are not working on our will. So when we talk about the alimentary canal, the food canal, whenever we are going to ingest the food and swallow the food. So after swallowing, we are not going to perform any willing function for the digestion even itself. With the help of muscles, you are having a knowledge about the peristaltic movement in the esophagus wall and the small intestine and large intestine, which is going to move the food forward. So there the muscles which are present, they are not working on our will, they are performing their functions by their own, and that's why they are known as what? Involuntary muscles, or the muscles which are present in our lungs, means they are not working on our will. And in the same way, the cardiac muscle, these are the muscles which are specifically present only in the heart. So as we know that the heart is a pumping organ and it is not going to work on our will, but it is going to beat continuously from the birth till the last breath. So this specific type of muscle tissue is present only in the heart, and that's why it is known as what? Cardiac muscle tissue. So when we talk about the epithelial, perhaps you are still remembering the epidermal layer of the plant. So epi means what? Outer. So for the protection of body, we need an outer covering around the body surface. So this epithelial tissue is going to provide a covering around the body organs, whether they are internal organs or external organs. So this covering tissue is known as what? Epithelial in the animals also. And this epithelial tissue may be of different types on the basis of their shape, means squamous epithelial or cuboidal, columnar, ciliated or glandular. Means if their shapes will be of a flat shape, so they will be considered as squamous epithelial tissue. If their shape will be of cube shape, so they will be considered as cuboidal epithelial tissue. And if their shape is what? Like the pillars, like the columns, so they will be considered as columnar epithelial tissue. And ciliated, if cuboidal or columnar tissues are having what? Means these cells are having some small hair-like structures on their surface, so these tissues are known as what? Ciliated. And finally glandular, means these are the tissues specific in our body which are going to perform the function of secretion. So these tissues may be of endocrine or exocrine. We will discuss about about all these topics later in the video. And now finally, when we talk about the connective tissue, so there in the plants we have discussed about the xylem and phloem, the complex tissues which are performing the function of conduction of water and food. In the same way, when we talk about the connective tissue, perhaps from the name itself you are having an idea that these tissues are responsible for the connecting one tissue or one organ in the body to the another organ or tissue. So these may be of three types: proper connective tissue, skeletal, and fluid connective tissue. So this fluid connective tissue is not new for you. You are having a knowledge about the blood, that the blood is going to pass to each and every cell of our body, every tissue of our body, and it is going to provide the nutrients and the essential substances, as well as it is going to take the waste materials. And this blood is considered as what? Since it is in the form of liquid, it is in the form of fluid. So this is known as what? Fluid connective tissue. One more fluid connective tissue we have to discuss in this chapter, that is known as what? Lymph. But when we talk about the lymph and blood, since blood is of red color due to the presence of a pigment that is known as what? Hemoglobin. But when we consider about the lymph, basically it is having what? White blood cells in enormous number, and there is no presence of hemoglobin. So it is what? Of colorless. Means it is white in color, or we can also call it what? Colorless. From the name itself, skeletal connective tissue means, we are having a framework in our body that is going to provide support to the muscles that are attached on the bones. So the skeletal connective tissue is what? It is made up of especially bone and cartilage, two types of these tissues, bones and cartilage. So you are having a knowledge about the bones and cartilage is what? You are observing your ear pinna or in front of the nose. these are what having a framework, hard framework. It's not going to lose. Our ears are just fixed there in a proper shape just because of what? The presence of cartilage, not bone, and this is the reason why we can also means squeeze it, and if it is made up of hard bone, it will be impossible for us to means you are having this finger bones, so these are made up of bones, so that's why we are not going to move it or bend it, but we can bend the ear pin or nose just because of the presence of cartilage. So we will discuss about the bone and cartilage, why bones are so hard and cartilage in comparison to the bone they are not so stiff, not so tough, but still they are going to provide us support to the muscles. And when we talk about the connective tissue proper, we are having what? Areolar, adipose, tendons and ligaments. So tendons and ligament, I hope it is not new for you, because from the previous class knowledge from class 6 and 7 you are having a knowledge that tendons are the bands which are going to attach muscles with the bones. So these are the connective tissue which are going to attach our skeletal muscle with the bones. And ligaments, when we talk about the ligaments, these are the structures which are going to attach one bone with the another bone. So ligament will be placed in between two bones and they are going to provide their cushion. When we talk about the adipose tissues are what? They are going to store fat in our body, and since we are going to store fat, they will provide cushion, and they are going to work as the shock absorption, means they are going to provide us protection from the external injuries, since they are going to store fat in their cells, so they are known as what? Adipose tissue. And when we talk about the areolas, perhaps you are having still knowledge and remembering that in the plant tissues we have read about the parenchymatous cells, permanent tissue. So they were performing the function of storage as well as filling. In the same way, when we talk about the areolar tissue in animals, so these areolar tissues are going to perform the function of package, means wherever in the body, in the organs, there is a space available in between the two organs. So these areolar tissues are going to fix, they are going to present there, and that's why they are known as what? Packaging material in the body. So this is what a general idea about all these tissues, animal tissues present in our body. So one by one we will start from the epithelial and we will study deep about these, what are their structures, what are their specific functions. But since you know that we are having ample of time for the annual exam and just one more chapter, that is what? Why do we fall ill? We have to complete after these 4 topics. So we are having ample of time, so we will discuss the things very smoothly and easily. So this is all for today. In the next video that will be just based on the epithelial animal tissues, and we will discuss about the types of these, what is squamous, cuboidal, columnar, ciliated or glandular epithelial tissue, and one more type of epithelial tissue on the basis of the layer of cells present. If the cells will be in single layer, that will be known as what? Simple epithelial tissue, and if the cells will be present in the multiple layer, so that will be considered as what? Stratified. So this we will discuss in the next video, the epithelial tissue in animals. So till then we are going to meet in the next video. Take care of yourself, be safe and keep studying.